Israel. My name is Brother Qaram, and to my right is Barak. And we're just coming here with another lesson. We're going to do a real good breakdown on bringing the prophecies in, okay, and taking the prophecies through history, precept upon precept, and we're going to show how in these last days that these prophecies actually fit us, the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans. We're in these last days, and I know that Israel has a lot of questions. We're trying to shake off that old vibe, shake off that carnal vibe. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through history, like I said, and we're going to just go through it real fast. So Israel, please get your paper and pencil, okay? Pay close attention because we're going to go through a lot of history, all right? So the first scripture, before we even get started, I want to start off with is Isaiah, okay, 28:9.
All right, we're going to bring that out of the KJV Bible, Isaiah 28 and verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
And that's the key word. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? We are going to teach the knowledge and the doctrine of Yahawashi HaMashiach, who people call Jesus Christ, okay? And so the next scripture I want you to get is Psalms 119 and 104.
Okay, Psalms 119 and 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way.
Through the precepts that's in the scriptures, this is how we're going to get proper understanding in these last days of who is the scriptures is talking about when it concerns these prophecies concerning the northern tribe and the southern tribe, the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans. So we're going to do precept upon precept, line upon line. And with these precepts, what we're going to do is we're going to link these precepts through the scriptures, through history, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get it started because we got a lot to cover, Israel. Let's start off first with Genesis 15 and 13.
Genesis 15:13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Come. Now, we know by this scripture that this is not talking about Egypt, not talking about so-called Egypt over there in Africa, because we sojourned for like 200 years, and actually when we was in Egypt, we wasn't there for 400 years. This Egypt that is talking about, that fits this scripture, is talking about this new captivity that we're in, the last captivity, the seventh captivity, which 7 means completion, which is so-called America. This is our homeland, and we became captives in our own homeland, okay? And so this is talking about 1619, when we first got here, to 2019. So when you do the math, 1619 to 2019, that's 400 years. That's why Israel, you see a lot of things that's going on right now in these last days. You see a lot of events. You see these nations are losing their head because now the Most High has turned back to his children. The Most High has turned back to us, and he's looking to us, and he is calling us back. And now it's time for the fulfillment of the Gentiles to be fulfilled.
Hallelujah.
This is why these things are happening, because the 400-year prophecy is up. Now let's go to a quick book real fast to get that 400 years. Right here, we're going to go real quick to before the Mayflower, okay? This book right here was written by Leon Bennett Jr. And so what we're going to go to first is, let's go to page 37 on Before the Mayflower. Let's do some precepts and get this through history. So we're going to go to page 37 right here in Before the Mayflower. And it reads like this. It reads, Virginia and Maryland led the way in the 1660s. So see, they're saying when we first got here in 1619, the first ones to get here were, here we go, this is on page 30. The story of Antonio and Isabella is only the act of a large dramatic. The European slave trade, which began in 1619 and continued for more than 400 years. See, there it is, which is going along with what? Genesis 15. That's that 400-year prophecy. This is when we first landed here, and when we first got here, we wasn't slaves, like it's going to tell you here, that Antonio and Isabella is the only in an act of a large drama. The European slave trade, which began in 1619, continued for more than 400 years. During this period, Africa lost an estimated 40 million people. Some 20 million of them, men and women, came to the New World. So there is the prophecy of us coming to this new world and them enslaving. All right, so the next scripture we want to get is, let's go to Jeremiah 50 and 33. Because what we want to also prove is that these prophecy also fits the so-called, also fits the Northern Kingdom. Okay, the so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, so-called
they call us Latinos.
Latinos, okay?
And even everyone who had their run in us.
Thank you, exactly, Khan. And so these scriptures not only fit Judah, they also fit the other kingdoms. So let's go to Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 50, verse 33.
Khan.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
There it is. So that's how we're going to link it up with Judah and with Israel. Both of them are going to be oppressed together. They're both going to go through the same type of curses. They're both going to go through the same type of condition. So we're going to find out in history where both of these tribes went through the same type of conditions.
Finish that off?
Yes, sir. Finish that off.
I'll start from the top. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Yashala and the children of Yahudah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Khan, they refused to let us go. Same thing is happening right now, Israel. This is the same thing that's happening right now. The Most High is calling his children out of Egypt. These nations refuse to let us go. What are they saying to us now? Okay, we see all the protests. We see everything that's going on. And the thing that they're saying is stop making so much noise and go back to voting. Okay, you need to vote. You need to vote to make the change. You need to vote to change racism. You need to vote. They want to keep us here in Egypt using this system.
Right.
They refuse to let us go. They refuse to let us keep the commandments of the Most High. They just want us to keep celebrating their pagan holidays using their system, using the same system that has oppressed us to try to fix the problem that we're in. And that's not what's going to happen. It's not going to work out like that. So let's go and start with the curses. That way that we can filter these curses through exactly what's going on with us today. Let's start off with Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Come on. See, this was given to us by our big brother, our big ancestor Moses. This was directly given to us. This wasn't these laws, statutes, and commandments wasn't given to the other nations. And this is why these curses is going to be on us. It's because we didn't follow the Most High's commandments. Right. Since the beginning, since he called us out of our first captivity, and he made a covenant with our forefathers, we have cheated on the Most High.
Right.
We have been a filthy rag to the Most High. We have turned our back on the Most High's commandments every time. And each and every one of these curses that is listed in Deuteronomy 15, all the way down to 68, happened to us.
Right.
Didn't happen to the so-called Chinese. Didn't happen to the so-called Arab. Didn't happen to the so-called East Indian. These specific curses happened to a so-called people, and they started. Okay, they started back in the past, and they rolled all the way up till now to 2020. These curses are still happening to these people. All right, let's go now to Deuteronomy 28 and 21.
All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it.
Con, that is the key. So wherever the Most High sent us to a land to possess, you know, it wasn't just in the Middle East, that land. This was our promised land over here in the Americas. And when we came over here and we possessed this land, wherever we went, these curses was gonna follow us. Okay, that's the key. Whether we was in the Middle East or over here, these curses is gonna follow us, and we're gonna all go, Judah and Israel are both gonna go through the same thing.
Right.
Okay? And so, let's go to,
Deuteronomy.
you know what? First I wanna go to, let's stay in Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 23.
All right, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 23. And thy heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
Con. Now let's get that real fast. What does that mean when he says, read that again, please.
Verse 23 in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And thy heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
What that means is, we're going to go into this book right here. This is History of Slavery, okay? And this is by Susanna Everett. Now, right here on this is page 121, okay? And as you can see right here, this is an instrument that they made, okay? And this instrument is a collar, and this collar had bells on it. So when the enslaved Israelites would try to run, these bells would ring. These bells are brass bells. As you look down at this picture here, you see that here's one of the brothers right here with the collar on him. Okay? And so when they would run, this bell would ring, and the slave catchers back then, they would know where our people was running to. And so when you read the little caption right here, it says,
Bring it out.
the slave collar it's real little. The slave collar, persistent runnerways, the effects of the similar device are shown below. Note the labels, loudly judgment that runaways were bad. Exactly. So as you can see, this is what it's talking about when we read in Deuteronomy 28.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them.
Done. We're going to stay in this book again because this book has a lot of meat in it. Okay, and we're going to go right here to page 30. And this is what it reads. Same book, History of Slavery. Right here it says, they did not submit entirely without a struggle. Only 3 years after Columbus. Only 3 years after Columbus arrived in Hispaniola, now Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, 100,000 Indians attempted to eliminate the small Spanish settlement. So what does it say? 100,000 Indians tried to eliminate a small settlement of Spaniards. Read that again.
That's Deuteronomy 25, right?
Deuteronomy 28 and 25.
Con. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten
Con.
before thine enemies.
Con.
Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
Gun. Here's the prophecy. What does it say? 100,000 Indians attempted to eliminate the small Spanish settlement of Isabella. Despite their large numbers, they were no match for the Spaniards, 220 of whom combined to massacre their flimsy clad and light armored opponents, cutting them down with the sword, shooting them with crossbows and barquettes, and settling savage bloodhounds on them, which, according to Bartholomew de las Casas, Bishop of Chiapas, when released in 1 hour, each tore 100 Indians to pieces. What does the Most High say right here he was going to do?
He was going to smitten them in front of thine enemies.
In front of your enemies, and what?
And thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Look at that. We went out with large numbers to get a small group, but the Most High was with them and against us.
Right.
And even with our large numbers, they were still able to take us out.
Right.
Because the Most High said that he was going to do exactly what he said he was going to do in Deuteronomy 28 and 25. We're going to also stay in this book, and let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 32.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
Good. Let's get that real fast here. We're going to go to page 112. Same book, page 112. Right here. It says, if the separating of husbands and wives cause heartbreak, the loss of children impose a corresponding agony. Although some historians now claim that the family separation occurred less frequently than has hitherto been believed, it happened often enough. In the words of one slave, I have borne 13 children and seen them most all sold off unto slavery.
Damn.
And when I cried out with a mother's grief, none but Yahushua heard. If only to keep up plantation morale, slaveholders had reason to keep their slave families together. But if hard times came, slaves were an owner's most readily realizable cash asset. And in the interest of personal survival, he was sometimes obliged to auction some off. And even though he might supplement that, certain lots should be sold together. Key word, certain lots should be sold together. Let's go right now to Joel 3.
3?
Yes, sir. Let's go to Joel 3 and 2. Like he said, certain lots has to be sold together. See, it was very profitable. See, when hard times came on these Gentiles, selling us was the easy thing, which goes straight and put to the scriptures where it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 32 that we won't have no might in our hands, that our children is going to be sold right in front of us.
Joel 3, 2 and 3.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2 and 3. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Gun. And that's exactly what they did. Let's go and let's
want 3?
Yes, let's do 3.
Okay, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
There's the key word I was looking for, lots, which totally corresponds with what it says here. And History of Slavery, page 112.
Read out, huh?
It says, if only to keep up plantation morale, slaveholders had reason to keep their slave families together. But if hard times came, slaves were an owner's most readily realizable cash asset, and in the interest of personal survival, he was sometimes obliged to auction some off, and even though he might supplement that, certain lots should be sold together. Key point. Let's read 3 one more time, please.
Yeah, and plus there's more meat on it. King, I'm going to take it from the jump, and then if I could, I want to add one thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it says, this is Joel, chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Now, I just wanted to bring this out. The atrocities that have been done still continue in the days. The curses, when the Most High's word goes out or his decree, it don't come back void. So even if we want to get out or anything, we have to ride through it. And as Ak has brought out, that duration is ending as he brought out the time frame.
Gone.
Right.
Now, I want to preset 3 again. So let's read 3 again, because I want to preset with where that came true in history.
Joel 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
Stop right there. Next book I want to go into. This book is called What They Never Told You in History. Okay? Volume 1. We're going to go straight to page 10 right here, called The Presidents. Okay? And right here it says, up by George Washington, it says, Washington shipped a slave to the West Indies in exchange for some rum and sundries. What's sundries? Dainties, all those goodies. Let's read that again. That's Joel 3 and 3. Like it says, George Washington shipped a slave to the West Indies in exchange for rum and sundries. The U.S. President George Washington, in a letter addressed to Captain John Thompson on July 2nd, 1766, he sold a slave named Tom for liquor.
Joel 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
So here it is right here. George Washington did that. He shipped the slave to the West Indies in exchange for rum and sundries.
Man.
So we have it right here in history of what they did, and how they used our people, which totally corresponds with what?
Hallelujah.
The scriptures, with these prophecies, because these prophecies is hitting us because we are the children of the Most High. And now in this last days, the Ruach HaKodesh has put the spirit on us to be able to go into the scriptures, prophesy these things, break down these prophecies, see where they happen at in history. Okay, so the next one we're going to go to, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 37.
Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Come on. What is the proverb and the bywords that we go by now? First, they was calling us nigger. That word goes all the way back to the Niger, goes back to the Latin word, because they called the apostles in Acts 13 and 1, they were called Niger. So see the word Niger, the N word, they've been calling us that for over 2,000 years. We come up to now, they're calling us the N word. They're calling us black. They're calling us African American. They're calling us all these things, but what the Most High said that we were supposed to be called.
Israelites
in these last days. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's go get that. That's Hosea 1 and 10.
Okay. Hosea 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power, Yahweh.
Come, hallelujah. And see, and this is the place where they refuse to call us who we are.
Right.
You know, they know who we are. This is why you're seeing right now, Israel, you're seeing this huge campaign with the media to totally show all the atrocities that's been happening to us.
Right.
Because see, the first thing that the Most High is making them do is acknowledge the atrocities. Then he's going to make them atone for the atrocities, and then he's going to punish them for their atrocities.
Right.
That's how it works in this order. But see, what they think that they can do is they think that they can decide what type of punishment they're going to get. That's why they keep coming out calling us black. That's why they keep saying that, you know what, we need to use this system over in. That's why you just seen the Democratic Party with their African kente cloths and all that stuff on, because they're trying to make us think that we have a connection to Africa, when actually this is the promised land that the Most High has promised us. And this is the promised land where the Most High put us in captivity under these Gentiles. But they do not want us to have any type of association with this land, with our promised land. So that's why they're always trying to refer to us as African Americans. Or if you don't like it, just go back to Africa.
Right.
Because they're trying to cut us off from our promised land, so they do not have to admit that we are the children of the Most High. Because when they admit that we're the children of the Most High, the next thing they have to do is they have to admit who our Father is. And what our Father's gonna do to them, that they have did this to the children. So that's the one big thing they don't want to do. They do not want to admit that we are Israel. You go to work, you got your fringes on, your co-workers see you with your fringes on, everybody sees, everybody tries to pretend like they don't know. They ask you questions about your fringes. They know everything about you, Israel. They know that we're Israel. They know that we're coming back.
Confederate.
They know, and thank you, these nations are confederate. They are mad as hell in these last days, because they know as they come down, the Most High is bringing us up, because two nations can't rule a kingdom.
No, and they're being exposed. So this is a precept for the Aki right here, because he brought that out so strong. For it is a shame even to speak, and this is Ephesians 5:12. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. Now watch this. It's all coming out, that these wicked people. So now even the heathens, they're starting to make a noise about it. And right here it says, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light. So basically what's happening is the light like I said, the Ruach is waking us up, and in waking us up, it's knocking the dust off the history and going, y'all are the devils. Hallelujah. Go ahead.
Next scripture we want to get, let's go to, no, we're going to stay in Deuteronomy, because we still got some precepts and some meat throughout history that we can totally precept with that. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 46.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
And that's why we have these curses. It's like these curses are our breadcrumbs to find out who we were. Because the Most High took our heritage away from us, like he says in Jeremiah 17:6. He took our heritage away. But these curses have been like a track record for us to go back and find out who we were. Because see, when we were in Israel, when we went through our first captivity, we knew who we were when we were in Egypt.
Right.
We knew who we were when we were under the Babylonian captivity. We knew who we were under the Assyrian captivity. We knew who we were under the Roman captivity.
Even in Persia.
Persian captivity, the Greek captivity, all these captivities, we never lost our heritage. We only lost our heritage when we came over here. That's when our heritage was stripped from us. That's when we were associated with Black, Native American.
Right.
The first thing that Christopher Columbus did is name you Indians.
Right.
That was taking away your heritage. This is the same thing that happened. And I have to straighten that up. This is the same thing that happened with taking our names from us that in Daniel, Meshach, Daniel and Abednego had to go through.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the first thing that the Gentile nations do. They take your name away from you and they give you one of their Gentiles.
And your whole heritage.
And your whole heritage eventually.
That's why you don't see no fringes.
Gun.
Yeah.
Gun.
Well, yeah.
And so let's go from there and let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 48.
All right, Deuteronomy 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Gun. And we know what that yoke of iron is. Let's get that yoke of iron real fast.
And there was a time I lived in England, and I went to the castles that they had there, and they even had their own little slaves in iron. They had dungeons with all kinds of stuff like that. They had dungeons under their thing with iron, and they had blood-stained walls. We're talking about real vampire people, real wicked, evil people, powerful people. So, of course, they're going to commission to take over and torture, the Spanish Inquisition, all these things. So, like I said, these curses are on us, but they're actually our light. Because this didn't happen to other people.
Gun. So, getting that yoke of iron again.
Bring that out, Ken.
Like we said, that brass, that iron that was around our neck, that iron represents that was around our feet, the chains, all that is that yoke of iron. And let's go real fast. Let's go to, let's read it all the way to 49, please.
Okay, so 28, we just read 48, start at 49?
Yes, sir.
All right. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
We didn't understand Spanish when the Spaniards showed up. Okay, when Christopher Columbus and all them showed up, we didn't understand Spanish. You know, the Northern Kingdom didn't understand Spanish. When the British showed up
on Judah,
we didn't understand English. We were speaking our Hebrew language. Okay, this is one of the reasons why when Christopher Columbus came over here in 1492, he brought himself a Hebrew interpreter with him because he knew what type of people that he was coming over here to communicate with. He knew who he was coming over here to take down. He knew that these was the Most High's people. He knew that the scriptures said that they went off and that the power was given to them to take us down. Let's go from there. Let's go to
I know you're gonna get 68 at some point.
Gonna get 68. Let's go straight to 68.
Let's bring it out. That's Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Now, we've been over this. I know a lot of you brothers know about this book. Maybe you don't. This is from our good brother Rudolph R. Windsor from Babylon and Timbuktu. Let's go straight to page 82. Actually, let's go straight to page 84. Here's where it says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrageous and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets was full of black Jewish slaves.
Say that again,
The slave markets was full of black Jewish slaves.
There it is.
Right there. Let's go ahead and precept that with a book out of history. Let's go to page 46 in this book. Page 46. Like the Most High says.
I was about to say, show them that.
Let's read that again.
All right.
68.
All right, Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Gone. See, the it that we wasn't going to see again is our homeland, Jerusalem. We wasn't going to see it again. We wasn't going to be able to find our way back. This time, the Most High has sent us so far away from our homeland that we could not see back. When you watch the old movie Roots, and they finally bring Kunta Kinte and they bring all the enslaved up to get them some exercise on top of the deck, the first thing he said is he's seen nothing but water. Where is everything? He couldn't find his way home. There was no jumping in the water and swimming back. That was it. They couldn't go back. Now let's go to page 64 in the same book here.
And where the scripture says that no man will buy you, I've heard people say, well, they were bought as slaves. No, they were bought into slavery. No one bought them and freed them out. And because the Most High was like, this is what's going to happen.
Here's the slave market. And what it said, and a deeper understanding what it means by that no man shall buy you. It means that none of our people were ever in the position to say, okay, I'm rich enough, I'm gonna buy my people out of this condition. You can't get out of this. This is the Most High that has put you into this. Like he says, these are the slave markets that was full. Okay, like it says in our book from Babylon to Timbuktu. Okay, but let's go ahead and remember that the Northern Kingdom, not just Judah, went on slave ships. The Northern Kingdom also went on slave ships. Let's bring it out in this book. This book is The Secret Archives of the Vatican.
Bring that out.
Okay? Let's see how the Northern Kingdom, they also went on slave ships.
Okay. Our cousins.
Our cousins, our brothers. Okay? This is out of the book, The Secret Archives of the Vatican. This is page 160. And it says, it may have been the treatment of the Arawaks by Columbus and his men that led to the papacy to rethink the matter of slavery. Columbus' real admiration for the Indians had come into conflict with another and a strong motive: the need to produce for his employer, the King of Spain. When the overworked Indians could not find gold enough, shiploads of them were sent to Spain as slaves.
How many?
Let's read it again. When the overworked Indians could not find gold enough, shiploads of them were sent to Spain as slaves.
There it is.
200 died on the way. So not just Judah went on slave ships, also our brothers, the Northern Kingdoms, they went on slave ships also to Spain. Okay? Because when Christopher Columbus came over here and he couldn't find the gold fast enough, what is more precious than gold? Human resource is more precious than gold. That's why at everybody's job they have a human resource department.
Right.
Because can't nothing get done without human resource.
Who's doing the work? Who's building Egypt's pyramids?
Gun. Human resource.
Right.
Okay? So that's more valuable than gold. So that's why our brothers got to understand that these curses follow the Northern Kingdom, which consists of, the so-called Hispanics, the so-called Native Americans. This is what happened to them too. They also got shipped off to Spain, okay? And so let's go to our next book.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 48. And it reads, Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Keep going.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50. Fierce countenance.
Fierce countenance.
Let's get
Yes,
to
sir.
it.
Yep.
A nation of fierce countenance,
Guns, fierce.
which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. Now, every time you see some Hollywood movie showing that, that's exactly what they show. People come in here and burning a whole tribe down, killing everything in its sight. 51 up?
Yes, sir.
51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn. Who makes corn tortillas? Corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kin or kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until they have destroyed thee. On a mission from God to do this. 52 up?
You know what? Let's read back up to Deuteronomy 28 and 36.
36, all right.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 28, 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Okay.
And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Wood and stone. That is the key word right there that I wanted. Because the wood and stone are symbolic. The wood represents the cross, the Christian cross under the Catholic Church. Because we got to remember that everything that Christopher Columbus did, he did for the King of Spain, who he got permission from was Pope Alexander VI. He was the Pope. That his real name was Rodrigo Borgia. A good movie for Israel for you guys to watch, so you can get an understanding of the Renaissance. The Renaissance is a French word which means the rebirth. When they came back into power, when that mortal wound was healed, and they came back into power under the Renaissance, the rebirth. That's from 1453 all the way up to 1492. So everything that they were allowed to do to put us in slavery was by the permission of the Catholic Church.
Right.
Okay, the Catholic Church gave them permission to do all of this. They wouldn't have been able to do it without the Catholic Church and without the king, given the King of Spain, which was King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. After the Inquisition, they gave them the ships and everything for them to be able to do this. Right. Now, that wood and stone, I want to precept that with this book. Okay, this book is The True History of the Conquest of Mexico by Captain Bernal Diaz del Castillo. Okay, this was written in 1568. All right, we're gonna go straight to the meat here. Let's go straight to this is 59, and it says, Friar Bartholomew, this is Bartholomew de las Casas, because Bartholomew de las Casas, he was on the ship with Hernan Cortez when they came over here in 1519 to take down the Northern Kingdom. Okay, so Friar Bartholomew de las Casas accordingly preached like an excellent theologian, which he was, explaining the mysteries of the cross, at the fight of which the evil beings they worship as gods fled away. So here he is he's saying that the cross that they brought over here is making those evil beings, because they said that they were worshiping, worshiping devils and sacrificing people, and that's why they needed to come over here and take the Northern Kingdom down. But they was doing that over there in England.
Right.
You know what I mean? They was freaking burning people at the stake, calling them heretics when they disagreed with the Catholic Church. But see, they didn't consider that human sacrifice.
And I told you that when I was in England, I saw the castles with torture chambers under them.
Gun.
They're wicked people.
Gun. And so here he's explaining that the cross, the wood that it's talking about in Deuteronomy 28 and 36, that the cross that represents that they brought over here, that's shooing away all the devils and demons that they had over here. Okay?
Just like a Hollywood movie.
Thank you. Just like a Hollywood movie. Their subjects and much more were delegated upon, and it was perfectly explained to and understood by the Mexicans, who promised that they would relate all that they had seen and heard to their sovereign. Now, this sovereign it is talking about is Montezuma. So these are, Montezuma wouldn't allow the Spanish to come up in. He wouldn't allow them to come up in Mexico. So he had emissaries that was talking to him, because see, they had already had omens and prophecies and everything that they were already showing up. So Montezuma was like, you know what? He sent some emissaries out there to talk to them, and they kept on trying to get them to bring them up, so they can talk to Montezuma. So that's what they're saying here, that, okay, we'll just relay your message back to our sovereign, which is Montezuma. And it says, he also declared to them, the utmost and principal objects of our mission hither were those of putting a stop to human sacrifice. Like, again, they trying to make it seem like, okay, our whole mission to come over here is we got to stop you guys from doing human sacrifice. But like I said, they was doing that in the Inquisition in England. They was putting people to death burning them at the stake, disemboweling them, doing everything because the people was going up against the Catholic Church, because Rodrigo Borgia, Alexander VI, he was vowed. And he's the one that ended up painting the portrait of his son, which is Cesare Borgia. He painted those first pictures as Christ.
That's what's sitting up in all the hood churches.
And that's what's sitting up in all
our grandma's houses and all that.
That guy was modeled after Cesare Borgia, who was painted by Michelangelo.
Homosexuals.
And they both was homosexual sodomites. And it says, and also declared to them the amongst the principal objects of our mission hither were to put in a stop of the human sacrifices, injustice, and idol worship. They're already doing idol worship with the cross and everything. And then presenting them with the image of the Holy Virgin with her son in her arms. See, this was the main reason why they wanted to come over here. They wanted them to present them with what? The image. That image. We got to present you guys. Here's this image of the Virgin Mary with the fake baby Jesus in the arms. You know, that's why he says here, our mission hither were those of putting a stop to human sacrifices, injustice, idolatry worship, and then presenting them with the image of the Holy Virgin and her son in their arms. He desired them to take with them and to venerate it, and to plant crosses similar to them before them in their temples. Bam! That's what he wanted them to do.
That agenda is still happening. They still pushing their agenda on us like they did then. They're still putting, and it's not about being white or anything, but that's what these people are. You know, we were under Egyptian captivity, Assyrian, Persian, all these, no matter who the Most High uses to spank us, these folks have agendas, and they're exposed, and that's what, the Aki's telling you. Pay attention to your history. Don't sleep on it. In school, it's boring because they're teaching us their history, which is fake. But when you teach this real history, now you know why we're in the situation we're in. Hallelujah.
And we're in these last days, and see, the Ruach has came to us, and by the grace of the Most High, He has allowed her to fill us with this spirit to be able to go in the same books and link it all together. Right. Precept upon precept with the scriptures, precept upon precept, and history books too.
Accounts of people who were there. This isn't Aki's opinion, nor his testimony of something that he heard. He's reading it out of the book, showed you the book so you can research it yourself. Because Israel, listen, just like he had to, just like Sawan, myself, we had to go and make sure this was on point. And it's not just on point, it's beyond on point. You're going to see how all these dots connect, because King cares, just like I do, that you get this truth.
Come. We love you, Israel. We love you so much in these last days, and we're trying to build the brotherhood. Right. And the best way to build the brotherhood is come out in an expression of love, which is teaching. I love the teaching. I want to teach my people, because this is the last days that we're actually living in, where all this understanding has been released to all of us.
Right.
Okay? No, there's not one camp that has it all figured out. The Most High is putting the Spirit on all these camps to go in, to put the work in. And we're all going to work together eventually to put all the pieces together. Okay? And we're all going to come together with this information, because this is what the Most High wants us to do. The Most High wants us to share these information. This is the oil that He has given me, the oil that He's given this brother, the oil that He has put in so many different camps that we see out here that's bringing this out. And we are commanded to come out here and use this oil to bring this to you, Israel. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go back into this book, because this book has so much meat, and I want to get this little section right here. And this is talking about our brother Nat Turner. Now, if you know the history of Nat Turner,
great movie,
great movie. You know, A Birth of a Nation was made by our brother Nate Parker. You know what I'm saying? He made a really good movie. They tried to crash it. You know what I'm saying? They did everything to crash the movie, but the information that he put in the movie was prevalent, because the Most High gave the Spirit to Nat Turner. He put the Spirit on Nat Turner to be able to understand that he was an Israelite. There wasn't no camps that woke Nat Turner up. You know, there wasn't no camp out there that woke Nat Turner up. It was the Ruach HaKodesh sent by the Most High to Nat Turner, so he can understand what was happening, to do those things that he did. And this little section right here I wanted to read. It says, in prison, Turner dedicated a long confession in which he professed his divine aspiration. This is what he said. I saw white spirits and black spirits engaged in battle, and the sun was darkened. The thunder rolled in the heavens, and blood flowed in streams. And I heard a voice saying, such is your luck, such you are called to see. This captor took care. He saw so much things. He was hung on November 11th. So they're telling you when he was hung. But what did he say? He said that he's seen white spirits and black spirits fighting in this great fight. Let's get that great fight that we're gonna have. Okay? Let's go to Zechariah 9 and 13.
Ooh, we've been holding that.
Yeah.
Zechariah chapter 9, verse 13. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
And that's what he did back then by giving Nat Turner that vision of what? White spirits fighting black spirits. This is that what they would call that race war that's happening. You know what I'm saying? The Most High already says that Israel is his battle axe. You know, we are in these times right now. You can see the spirit that's out right now. Everybody's on the streets. These protests will not stop, Israel. Okay? The Most High sent out this COVID virus during the Passover. By the grace of the Most High, we was able to have our beautiful Passover. Then 50 days after that, we have our Pentecost. And just like when we read in Acts 2 and 2, what happened during that Pentecost? The Most High sent out the Ruach, and the Ruach filled the nation, filled the Spirit, and they were able to speak and communicate in different tongues and talk to different Israelites that were scattered out in different communities. And those people were woken up. This is what you got to ask yourself, Israel. Ask yourself this. We have been getting killed on video for a long time. There's been all kinds of videos of us being killed. What is so special about this one right now, the George Floyd video.
Right.
It's because now the Most High has sent the Ruach out across the whole world now. Now everybody's eyes is open at once, and they all see our suffering. They all see our oppression. You're seeing all the documentaries coming out. They're having specials. Turn on your Netflix right now. They have a whole row dedicated to what? Black people, black oppression, history and everything. Turn on your Amazon.com Prime. They got a whole section. Everybody is stepping up to the plate to say, hey, these people have been mistreated. You have never seen this universally. Why? Because the Ruach. Now the Most High says, I'm gonna wake you up to my people's suffering. And that's why what's separating right now is the Gentiles that the Most High has chose. That's why you see brothers out there, you see different races and everything out there rolling with our people. You know, because like it says in Jeremiah, that you know what, the Gentiles is going to come and they're going to say they inherited lies. At the end of the day, they know they inherited lies. We inherited, all this was a big lie. And you seeing them, they see that it's a big lie. It's falling right in front of them. And you know what? The Gentiles that the Most High has chose, they are down with us, they fighting with us, they marching with us, they're out there saying we got to keep this going, and all praises to the Most High. Okay, we are truly in these last days, Israel.
This is Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Now we all know that verse is talking about us. You know, this is what they're doing now when they're telling us to go out and vote. They're saying that we slaved you, but use the same system because we know what? We're not going to put these people in jail. You know what I mean? They have had plenty of time, Israel, to do the right thing. And every time they have said that, you know what, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. They are our possessors who slay us and hold themselves not guilty. And it's us. You know, this is not happening to the so-called Chinese man. You know, after 9/11, you would think that there would just be this mass freaking fear campaign orchestrated against Arabs. But since 9/11, have you ever seen a video of an Arab getting put in a chokehold and getting beat up or killed because a cop said, well, I thought he might have had a bomb on him or something. I feared for my life. No.
How about when those white guys go shoot up schools? They go shoot up everything. You don't see white people getting stepped on in their neck. You don't see it.
You don't see it.
I can tell you firsthand. Rest in peace, my cousin Chito, shot in the face in the Walmart parking lot, front page news. That's what's happening to our people.
Gone. So yes, they hold themselves not guilty. But let's show how we are at the end of these days. Let's go get the word straight from AHCYUM. Let's go to Luke 21 and 24.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
And that's where we're at now, where the times of the Gentiles are being fulfilled. Israel, like AHCYUM said, when these things happen, look up, because your redemption draws near. You know, like it says in 1 Timothy 1 and 7, the Most High has not given us the spirit of fear. You know, these are magnificent times that we're living in. You know, this is what the prophets always prayed, to be able to see these times that we're living in. And we're living in just such incredible times, Israel. And to know who we are in these last days, we want to thank the Most High for sending the Ruach and waking us up in these last days. And we want to just say all praises to the camps that's out there that's keeping in word and sincerity and truth. We want to say all praises and blessings to the brothers out there that's doing the work out there in the highways and byways. We want to send love to all Israel that's waking up. Kwam Yashala. My name is Brother Qaram,
Brother Barak,
and we just want to say Shalom.
Shalom, King.